now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching, I hope you're doing okay. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their next boxing event, which is taking place October 21st. It's an HBO event. I'm going to be ringside. I want you to be ringside, too. Get yourself some tickets. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Turning Stone fight poster to get directed right into the ticket office. And the fight poster is on the right-hand side of the screen. So click that and make sure you drop me an email and tell me where you're sitting. I'll come over and say hello. Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold, and you can get a copy of it right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about telling Tom Molyneux's story. It goes well beyond from rags to riches. I mean, this guy was born a slave, fought for his freedom. Read the book. It's worth it. And by the way, for the rest of this month, because of a brain lapse, I ordered twice as many books than I normally do. So, you want a signed copy? Drop me an email, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And as long as you live someplace in the United States, I will send you a signed copy for $20. Can't beat that. Drop me an email. I'll get yours out today. Speaking of today, we got some stuff to talk about. First and foremost, we're going to be doing a blast from the past today featuring Humberto Gonzalez, a former world champion and Hall of Famer. Alex Papali will be on later to tell us about Humberto Gonzalez, a request from one of you guys. We also have news to talk about. I got some great emails. I got several main topics today, but it was announced yesterday that Miguel Cotto will be taking on Sadam Ali in his next fight. Sadam Ali is a decent fighter. And, it's not like I knew Miguel Cotto was not going to fight some kind of a world beater for his exit fight. This is, once again, Miguel Cotto claims that this is his last fight. If you recall, in his last fight, he had picked up the WBO junior middleweight title. So this had to be a title defense. There was rumor of him fighting Antonio Margarito and some other big names, but he chose Sadam Ali. Now, when they announced it yesterday, and they'll have an official press conference on that, I believe later this week or early next week, they claim that Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson, and James Kirkland all turned down offers to fight Cotto. Now, the way they make it sound is that these guys did not want to fight Cotto. And, you got to really take a look when you read that in the press. They didn't necessarily turn down the fight because they're scared of Miguel Cotto. They turned down the offer to fight Miguel Cotto, which might not have been enough money. For example, I'm sure Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia would have loved to have fought Cotto. Both, I believe, could beat Cotto. And I just don't think there was enough money offered on the table. Joining me right now, we'll get his thoughts, is my man from St. Simon's. Clean shaven now. I'm glad to see, but not that it matters to me. But my man Sal, Rocky Senacola, you look like normal. You look much younger. I tell you what, you look much younger without the beard and mustache.
Thank you, Bill. I liked it. It was a trial. It was this. I had to take a couple of headshots with that for a portfolio thing, but hey, it's gone. I'm glad. I got my face and my clean shaved back, and I'm ready. So cut me, Mick. Yeah.
What do you think of the fight? And my point about when they announced that fighters didn't want to fight him, it's not because they were afraid. It was probably the do-re-mi.
Well, it's the do-re-mi, and it's the spin, what they want you to think or believe, and what's behind it. But I'll tell you, it's like many times. It's also, would it be a significant enough fight for these guys to have taken? I often go back and I wonder what might have been different. And Richie Giacchetti was my manager at the time, and Lou Duva offered us I was 7-0 with maybe 4 or 5 knockouts, and Lou Duva called Richie Giacchetti and said that they would like to put Meldrick Taylor for his professional debut after he won a gold medal in the '84 Olympics. They'd like him to fight me for his pro debut. And Richie said, Sal, it could be a good fight, and you've got a good style for Taylor. But here's the thing that I don't like about it. If you beat Meldrick Taylor, you're beating an Olympian, but you're beating him in his pro debut. He never fought pro. And if you lose to Meldrick Taylor, you're losing to a guy making his pro debut who was an Olympic gold medalist. But so Richie said, Sal, let's just bypass this fight for now, and maybe we'll fight him down the road when we see what he's got. So that was Richie's call, and but that was his explanation. Had nothing to do with money, anything else. But so what I'm saying is maybe Miguel Cotto isn't really that significant for them to fight to prove that they could beat him. Or if they lose to him, they're going to lose to an aging old guy that his career is washed up or not going, to be around for too much longer. And if they beat him, well, they just beat an aging old guy who's not going to be around any longer. So there could have been some of that in between with the money. You never know.
Well, yeah, I can see your point. But
he's a great fighter.
When you guys discussed that for Taylor, but in this particular case, Miguel Cotto is not scaring anybody. I mean, it's not like they're asking you to fight Triple G. I think that they just did not offer enough money, and they do this for promotional reasons. They specifically say, well, we offered the fight to Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Lamont Peterson, James Kirkland. They all didn't want it. So the immediate thought is like, ooh, they're scared to fight Miguel Cotto. No, they probably offered him $100 to fight him, and they said, forget about it. Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia both can make a big money. Lamont Peterson, Lamont Peterson, we talked about him before. This is a guy that for some reason does not get enough respect. And as far as James Kirkland, I'm surprised. I mean, this is. I'm sure that his phone isn't ringing off the hook. But when you take a look at Sadam Ali, the truth of the matter here is, this is exactly the type of fight that Cotto was looking for. A fight he feels he can win. Sadam Ali has never fought at junior middleweight officially. I mean, back in 2011, he fought Javier Perez. He weighed 149.5, and in beginning of this year against Jorge Silva, he weighed 148.5. Both technically junior middleweight, but of his 26 professional fights, technically has never fought in that division. I think this is Cotto picking a guy he feels that he's going to have no trouble with. What do you think?
Well, if this is his swan dance, his song, and his last fight, yes, I would have to agree with you, Bill, that he is not looking for a world beater. He wants to go in against somebody that he feels he can not only beat, but has the kind of style that will make his style look even better. So, I think it's more along that line, and not anything else negotiation wise to get the other big fighters, the big names, the big world beaters, the big current prospects and champions and contenders in the ring with Miguel Cotto at his time, in all due respect.
Well, the truth of the matter is Miguel Cotto. I mean, I think Antonio Margarito wanted to fight him for a third fight. And not that Antonio Margarito is anything what he was. I really think when you look at the fight from a money perspective, I think Miguel Cotto is making a mistake. I think Miguel Cotto would have been better off fighting Margarito. And I say this because I don't think Margarito could have beaten Miguel Cotto. As a matter of fact, he's got the same chance as Sadam Ali. Sadam Ali is actually a better fighter in terms of movement and boxing ability, something that could give Miguel Cotto some trouble. And, if it's all about the money, I would have thought that Cotto would have made way more money fighting Margarito, unless Margarito was asking for big bucks. But according to my reports, they never even offered to fight to Margarito. So,
wow.
Cotto is fighting a smaller guy, a guy that's never fought in a division. He's ranked number 23 in the welterweight division. So where does that put him in the junior middleweight division? And then let's go to the sanctioning body, the WBO. How do you sanction a title defense against a guy that, A, has never fought in that division, and B, who's not even ranked in the top 15 of the welterweight division? He's ranked number 23 in terms of the computer. The WBO might have moved him in the junior middleweight ranks, which I didn't even look. But if they did that, my third question would be, how could they do that? He never even fought in that division. So pretty strange circumstances, in my opinion, surrounding this fight, Sal.
Well, it is strange, and like we said, sometimes you got to pay your way, and you could find yourself automatically in the top 10 for a contendership of a title. And it's mysterious how this guy just turns up in this weight division, and it was automatically a mandatory. So, hey, like I said, it's boxing. It's never going to be perfect. It's just going to try to give us the best that we could find, and we'll know the game.
Make no mistake, Sal. It's not a mandatory. There was no mandatory. It was chosen by Sadam Ali, but generally, by Miguel Cotto. But generally, a fighter that a sanctioning body approves for a world title fight, for their world title fight, has to be ranked generally in the top 15. So I'm a little confused about that. But Dax Khan is going to be coming on a little bit later, and I guess he's got some more news on that and some other stuff. So we'll know. But I got some more news for you I wanted to talk about. Floyd Mayweather, a guy that I would exactly. Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Sal. Thank you very much for saying that, because I wish I didn't even have to mention the bastard's name, the bastard. But Floyd and his entourage, because Floyd. That's what always makes me laugh. Floyd acts like he's such a badass, but he's such a wimp that he doesn't even go anywhere by himself. He's got to carry, a whole entourage of his bodyguards and everything else. This is why he's going to piss away all his money, But anyway, he's at a basketball game yesterday at the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And when he was leaving, apparently a fan started heckling him, yelling at him, and saying that he was scared to fight Triple G, and giving him all some flack, and he started yelling back. And at one point, Floyd says to this guy, "Hey, how many diamonds you have on your watch?" Flashing his own. And my thought on this is twofold, Sal. Number one, I say to myself, you see, I was right. I had predicted that Floyd is going to be haunted in retirement about not choosing the best fighters, like other fighters before him have, that want to have the title as an all-time great. And Floyd has taken it a step further by self-proclaiming that he's the best ever. So I think that when he goes out in public over time, and the more time that goes on, the more hassle he's going to get. And Triple G will be a name that'll be thrown at him. Because let's face it, Floyd has the talent to actually, especially the version of Triple G we saw against Canelo, and the fight plan that Canelo tried to employ would have been a fight plan that Floyd did, and Floyd would have been more successful at it because he can hit on the move. So I think that Floyd could possibly steal a victory from him. So that's number one. Floyd's always going to get bothered by that. But number two, this is my biggest problem with Floyd Mayweather and his fans that always try to tell me that he's the best ever. And one of the reasons when I say why, they give me two answers 99.99% of the time. One is he's undefeated, which is a stupid thing. And two, because he makes so much money, which should have no bearing on anything when you're looking at, all-time great. And all of a sudden, Floyd uses the same line against this heckler. How many diamonds are on your watch? What difference does that have to make with him avoiding Triple G? Your thoughts, please, Sal Rocky Senecola.
Bill, you're striking some nerves with me, pal. Come on. I said, Floyd wants to really prove himself. He should have been ringside for Canelo Alvarez, a Triple G fight, and challenged the winner after that fight. And now that they both had a draw, he can challenge both of them. And in defense, he already beat Canelo Alvarez, and I don't know if he would have beaten the current today Canelo Alvarez, but he would give a good fight and a good show of himself, as well as him fighting Triple G. Styles makes fights, and Mayweather has a style that could possibly give Triple G some trouble too. But still, I think, Mayweather just thought about those heavy hands dumping on him and breaking them up anywhere else, and it could have been a different story. But yeah, we were all hoping for that. I was promoting that, but it never happened. And another reason why, you just made me think, another reason why Floyd Mayweather has his entourage that he brings with him and pays for, and keeps them around him, is just what you said. There could be someday a heckler or somebody that has one or too many beers in a sporting event or out socially or somewhere else that their paths may cross, who just may have enough nerve to go off the reservation and say, Floyd, I could beat you, I could do this, I could hit you, and just want to try and get a name for himself and try to get in a street fight with Floyd Mayweather. That's why you have an entourage around you too, so you don't get that opportunity, number one, or if you did get that close, it's going to be quickly disbanded because your entourage is going to jump in and rescue you.
What's funny is if you have a reputation for being a badass, most people aren't going to try it. Floyd doesn't. You're right. Floyd doesn't have that. Right. He doesn't have that reputation. His reputation is he's made a lot of money and he's cherry picked. Listen, Floyd is going to get hassled forever because there's going to be enough people that are not going to put the value in his smokescreen that a lot of others do. But I just found it funny that, as he's yelling back and forth behind the protection of his linebacker-sized entourage, that he throws in this guy's face that, he's got more jewelry on him than the guy does. And he says, I'm not scared of Triple G. And Triple G has said that he would love to fight Floyd. As a matter of fact, he guarantees he would knock Floyd out. And to be honest with you, I think he would. I don't think we've seen the last of Floyd. I think that Floyd Mayweather will come back again. And the reason is because of his ego. He doesn't have to financially. And, some signs that would indicate that he wouldn't come back is if he started to stop with the entourage and the spending and then this and then that, because that is the sign of a guy who's going to run out of money. And as much money as he's made, and he's made them, if not hitting it, he's made pretty damn close to $1 billion, more than anybody else in the ring. A guy that has made that much money, if I'm Floyd Mayweather, I kind of get out of the limelight. If I'm Floyd, I would focus on my promotional company and really try to build up some good fighters. It just seems that anybody that gets involved with Floyd ends up going down the wrong street. It's like what Yogi Berra always said: if you get to a fork in the road, take it.
Pick it up.
That's what they don't do. But anyway, back to Miguel Cotto and Sadam Ali. I'm not so sure I like the fight. I understand why Miguel Cotto has taken it. He's looking to go out with a good performance against a guy. The only reservation I have is that Sadam Ali can box, and if he's disciplined enough to just box Cotto, the question would be now: can he steal a fight from Cotto? Would he get a fair shake at Madison Square Garden? Miguel Cotto does so well with the Puerto Rican fan base in New York, and of course, you would assume the judging would be in his favor too, which you hate to say, but it is what it is. So I just, I'm not that crazy about the pick. I think if he's going to go out with a win, so to speak, I think a bigger name. A beatable winner, bigger name would have been a smarter move. And I hate to say it, but I would have thought that he would have made more money against Antonio Margarito.
Oh, by far, I think he would have. And like I said, this guy Sadam Ali, I don't know how well he really is known in the world as far as being a contender and having the quality of skills that's going to put him in the ring with Cotto, because Cotto should, I don't want to say easily handle him, because he's got some boxing ability, this guy Ali, but the bottom line is Cotto is going to go in this ring, and he's going to look good, and he's going to win the fight. And especially in New York, everything's on his side, and that's what is going to happen, and it'll be maybe his last fight. And I'm sorry, and thank you for correcting me when I said mandatory. There's another fight that I'm going to wait for you to bring up that I read was a mandatory, and I'm very excited about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that right at the next break. But look up Sadam Ali and find out who he is and what he's about, because he's a good fighter. He's a young fighter, 29 years old. Miguel Cotto's 36. He is 26-1 with 14 knockouts. His only loss came at his world title shot when he fought and got stopped in the 9th round against Jesse Vargas. Up to that point, he started his career back in 2009, and he really was coddled. I mean, big time. All the way up until he fought Jeremy Bryan back in 2014. I think that was his first real test, and you could make the argument that he got a gift decision. It was a split decision. A lot of people felt he lost that fight. But from that point on, he has fought some good opposition, like Luis Carlo Abreu, Francisco Santana. He lost to Jesse Vargas in that title shot. But since then, he's fought and beat Saul Corral, who's a good fighter. Jorge Silva, who's you look at his record at 22-12, but he's a good fighter, and he knocked him out in 3 rounds. And in his last fight, he fought a tough Johan Perez and won a unanimous decision. So, he is a good fighter. My concern is the fact that he's fighting in a weight class he shouldn't be, and also how's he even ranked by the WBO. But, Sal, hold that thought. We're going to take a short break, and when I come back, we'll talk about the news you want to talk about. So we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty,
get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
That was the best thing I've ever done.
It looked good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any solution from Hair Club. Call now.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-490-9652 now and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a relief back brace covered by Medicare. Little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad that you could be with us. And don't forget about being with me. That's right. Come on up to the Turning Stone Resort and Casino on October 21st. I'm going to be ringside for the Turning Stone's next boxing event, and you should show up there too. You know, I need some scotches, so you got to get there. Get yourself some tickets. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Turning Stone banner, which you can't miss. It's on the right-hand side. Before we went to break, we were talking about Miguel Cotto taking on Sadam Ali. I personally feel that Antonio Margarito would have been a better opponent, not for the competition, because I think Sadam Ali is the better fighter. I just think that, you know, Cotto's clearly picking a bon voyage, let me make the most money, let me get a W, you know, everything in my favor type of a fight. And I just think that the WBO is looking more stupid than anyone else, Sal, because of the approval of the fight. I mean, here's a guy who's never even fought in that division ever, you know. So 2 times he fought above 147, and that was earlier in his career. So, but now, Sal.
Yes.
The news you want to talk about.
Oh, boy.
Talking about ordering a mandatory fight.
Yes.
The WBO has ordered Billy Joe Saunders, who's the only belt that Triple G does not have in the middleweight division. Billy Joe Saunders is coming off a pretty boring fight against Willie Monroe Jr. has 30 days to reach a deal with his mandatory opponent, which was named yesterday. And Sal, what's your thoughts on David Lemieux being named Billy Joe Saunders' opponent and the fight itself? I mean, I love it. What's your thoughts?
Oh, come on, Bill. I love it too. You know, we were throwing it out there a couple of months ago with, or even just as recent as with the Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight, and saying where, you know, David Lemieux could fit so perfectly among anybody that we have this round robin scenario, and David Lemieux versus Billy Joe Saunders is a great fight, and I would like to see David Lemieux win this fight. And I'd also like to see then him leveraged to face the winner of Triple G and Canelo Alvarez again. And I think to next year, that fight could possibly happen by the end of the year anyway. So I love David Lemieux. I'm a big fan of David Lemieux. And, you know, there's not any one thing I could even identify that's spectacular about David Lemieux, except he's got some great punching power. He's got some great arsenal in his weaponry. But a guy can get hit. He takes a hell of a shot. And what I love and respect about him is he's a fighter. He comes back. He fights to win. And he wants to win. And he's got some devastating, if you could say almost freakish, punching power. And that's the equalizer in any fight. When you got a puncher, you are never counted out of the fight until you're counted out or that last bell rings. So I like this David Lemieux fight. I'm going to wish him the best, and I like the way this whole scenario could be shaping up for next year.
Yeah, no, I like the fight. Billy Joe Saunders says, I'm so happy the WBO has me fighting Lemieux. We'll see what Short Legs does. I hope he doesn't get some kind of injury. Saunders, if I'm David Lemieux, I wear a cup at the press conference so Billy Joe Saunders' little son doesn't kick him in the nuts like he did Willie Monroe Jr. But David Lemieux said, I'm ready to take the belt from that coward Billy Joe Saunders. I will get back to where I should be on the map. Lock and load, you pussy. That's what they started back and forth. What do you think of that?
I think those are fighting words, Bill. That's great. That's great. Well, hey, no love lost here. We know that going in. So, like I said, I love this fight. Did they set a tentative date yet?
Right now, they have 30 days to reach the deal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they go to purse bid. The minimum purse bid is $200,000. Which you know, and I want to make people understand something about purse bids. Just because of purse bid, let's say they can't reach a deal because, you know, first and foremost, Billy Joe Saunders has outpriced himself many times in the past. So you know, if they can't come to a deal, then what it means is they go to a purse bid, and the purse bid procedure is sealed offers from whoever wants to do it. So it could be a different promoter, not Lemieux's promoter and not Billy Joe Saunders' promoter, that actually wins the fight. What the minimum purse bid means is that that's the minimum bid to get the fight. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the fighters are going to split. 200. Let's say somebody bids 250 and they're the only one, and they win the purse bid. That doesn't mean that 250,000 is going to be split between those two fighters, because there's other revenues that will be negotiated. I do believe that this fight will be made prior to a bid, a purse bid, because you know, both fighters have significant audiences and television deals and strong promotional companies. So I think that that this deal will be made. It will be a co-promoted fight. My only question mark is where it will be. Does the fight take place in the States? Does the fight take place in Canada? Does the fight take place in England? You know, so you have three, you know, big question marks in terms of location. You know, so I mean, you have one big question mark in location. Where is it going to be? U.S., Canada, or England? You have another big question mark of will the purse bid, will the fight be a deal cut before purse bid? And number three, does some outside, you know, under the table, under the radar promoter, if it does go to purse bid, win it. So and let's make no mistake, they could just say forget it, and the WBO, or if Billy Joe Saunders comes up with another fighter, the WBO could just approve it and get something else for Saunders. So for Lemieux. So it's all a smokescreen, just like the rest of the sport. Sometimes, you know what, Sal? It's the same.
Oh yeah, it is, and I think this fight's going to take place either in Vegas, Madison Square Garden, or Montreal, Canada. That's how I feel.
Well, I think Canada, listen, those guys do very well in Canada with the draw. If it's in Canada, it's very easy for them to also get U.S. television, whether it be HBO or Showtime or even ESPN. You never know. So logistically, it's much easier. And, there's going to be a lot of money for this fight. These guys are going to make a lot of money. The problem I see is Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders is, I don't think he's that good, number one.
No.
And I think that, his demands for money are outrageous. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they got 30 days. So, if we're still talking about this midway through November, that means it's going to be going to purse bid.
Yeah, I think you're right, but we'll see. Hopefully they can strike a deal or so. But I like the fight. I want to see David Lemieux win this fight, and I think it'll be a heck of a scenario going into middle or late next year after Canelo Alvarez and Triple G get back in the ring together. So that division really is shaping up to be really all eyes on it,
Well, apparently, according to the numbers and the statistics, all eyes are on the December 9th matchup between Vasily Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. According to the powers that be, this fight has sold out. Wow. Another indication that the boxing fans know exactly what are the good fights to watch and what are the ones not to watch. Vasily Lomachenko fighting at Madison Square Garden against Rigondeaux, December 9th, has been sold out. That's 2 months away. So that's a really good indicator, and I'm happy about that because, the fans love Lomachenko, and Rigondeaux is going to be a really tough test for Vasily Lomachenko. This guy is the definition of sweet science, Rigondeaux. So looking forward to that fight. Sal, hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, and I got one that I'm so glad I got, man, and I can't wait to read it. If I don't get a chance now, we'll have to do it later, but we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
That was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
And watching the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us today. And man, we're having everything's moving so slow today. Don't know what's going on. If it's everybody or just our systems here. But anyway, before we went to break, we were talking about Lomachenko, Rigondeaux selling out so quick. There's another fight that was announced yesterday, and it's going to be taking place at one of my favorite places to watch a fight, and that's the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And they have a cruiserweight fight between Konstantin Bejarnu and a guy that I think most of you have heard of, Fabrizio Manchunu. And I love this fight. These guys are evenly matched. This is one that I'm looking forward to. It's taking place November 25th at Mohegan Sun. So cruiserweight division here in the States. I love it. But anyway, I got a couple of emails I want to read. But first, this first one, I want to jump forward to get. My man Thomas Newman was a guy that used to be involved with this show. He's from England, and he used to do a British boxing report for us. And he was the guy I've mentioned many times that I was turned on to Tyson Fury way back when Tyson Fury first started fighting. And I give credit to Thomas Newman for doing that for me. I mean, he hooked me up with this guy. I believe it was after his third fight. Sent me a tape of him, and I followed him ever since, good and bad. So I hadn't heard from Thomas Newman a job. We did meet in person one time. He did come over to the States, but as a matter of fact, he came over to the States, I believe, at the same night that Dax and I, here we are, members of the press, and we were sitting in some crappy seats. And Thomas Newman was sitting in our seats down at the ringside at the casino. But anyway, he's a great guy, and he sent me an email the other day, and he says, "Hey, Billy C, a long time no speak. I hope was all and well with you, my friend." He says, "I've been checking in with your shows on YouTube Live, and they are superb as they always have been." He says, question for you. Have you checked out Daniel Dubois? This guy is either 19 or 20 years old, and he has reportedly knocked out Anthony Joshua in sparring, plus the Olympian Lawrence Oakley in sparring as well. I think there's big things ahead for this guy, and he sent me a clip of him. And let me tell you something. I have to say this. I had totally never heard of Daniel Dubois. Thanks for the email, Thomas, and we hope we hear from you live soon. I got to be honest when I tell you I haven't heard of him. And thanks to Thomas Newman, I did some research. He's currently 5-0 with 5 knockouts. His total rounds he's fought of his 5 fights are 7. So it gives you an idea of the punching
he's got
power.
some power.
He's 6'5". He is a guy that just turned 20 years old in September. He's a WBC Youth World Heavyweight title holder. He won that when he fought in July of this year. He's only fought 75 amateur fights with a record of 69-6. But this guy has got some freakish punching power. Now, I don't know if he really knocked out Anthony Joshua in sparring or not, but this is definitely a heavyweight to keep your eye on. I love the heavyweight division, and this is a guy I can't wait to see more of. Daniel Dubois, I looked up, and not only did I watch the fight that Thomas sent me, but the other fights were available as well. Well, at least 3 of the 5 I was able to watch. And this guy is good. Now, how good is he? Well, he's 5-0 with 5 knockouts. His combined opponent's record, which you never see here in the States, Sal. All right, here's a guy. He's 5-0, just turned 20 years old. All right, was no world beater in the amateurs. I mean, yeah, 75 amateur fights are a lot, but 69-6 doesn't blow the doors off of anybody. But his combined opponent record is 40 wins and 10 losses.
Are you kidding
in his 5 fights? I mean, listen. Granted, you see some of these fighters that they're coddled for. I was just saying how Sadam Ali, for example, was coddled up for so long, and they're fighting guys that don't have a chance. This is a heavyweight, 20 years old, who has fought in his pro debut. He fought a 1-0 guy. His second fight, he fought a 3-1 guy. His third fight, he fought a 13-5 guy. In his fourth fight, he fought a 15-1 guy. And in his last fight against A.J. Carter, 8-3. So 40-10 is his combined opponent record. That's impressive. What's your thoughts? I know you haven't had a chance to see him or anything like that, but what's your thoughts, man?
Well, on an average, he's fighting. His first 5 fights, he fought guys with average records of 8 wins, 2 defeats. So you know what? That's a hell of a amount to. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. I want to see more of this guy, and I'm glad he's now going to be on our radar because I always love the punchers too, and to see what they can do to turn a fight around. One way or the other. So yeah, that is pretty impressive. And no, you'll never see that. You'll see fighters in the States here, going against when they make their pro debut, and they're the A side, if you will, against fighters maybe 0-2, 1-2, something like that, more or less this. But like I said, on average, if my math is correct right now, this guy's averaging 8-2 records going into these fights for first 5 fights of his career. So I think we got to definitely keep our eye on this guy because he's going to be a good fighter to look for and see how he develops and see if he could turn into a world-class fighter. He's got the power to do something.
Well, as usual, I murder people's names. I'm being corrected in the chat room, and if you're watching on another feed, the chat room we do monitor is up on BillyCBoxing.com. It's pronounced Dubois. Dubois. Just call him Danny. I call him Danny. I call him Danny from the UK. But
Danny, let's do that.
The bottom line is he's 5-0, and this is, and we're going to keep an eye on him. This is why I always say that the UK is carrying the sport of boxing on their back. These fighters are willing to fight. They're willing to fight early and often, and they're willing to fight the tougher fights to prove they're the best, something that the U.S. fighters need to get back to. Otherwise, like Dax has said in the past, the U.S. is going to be left behind in the world of boxing, and it's not too far-fetched to see. And speaking of Dax, he's going to be joining us here in a few minutes, so Sal's going to take a little break when he comes on, but we'll get to Dax in a few minutes when he gets here. But I got another email to read while we wait for Dax. And Sal, we'll talk to you later. So go have some coffee or whatever you do, and we'll see you in a little bit. But anyway, what's going to happen I got another email here, and this email says, "Hey Billy," it's from my man Jesse. He says, "Hey Billy C. I think Vitali versus Joshua is a mismatch because of the age. Vitali's too old and has not fought in 5 years. Yes, I would like him to take some tune-ups before Joshua, for example, Wilder or Parker. I think he could beat those guys pretty easily, but don't think he can beat Anthony Joshua. Like I say, Billy, fighters after 40 are just not the same physically, mentally, and emotionally. Therefore, young fighters facing these 40-year-old boxers shouldn't really count these fights if they win. There might be exceptions like Hopkins and Foreman and Holmes who rely on their experience and technique. Other than that, I don't really like to see it. Listen, that fight's not going to happen. Vitaly Klitschko that was just him talking crap. Vitaly Klitschko has no reason to really come back. And if he does, I think that's a slap in the face to Vladimir Klitschko. That Vitaly, the older brother, has to step up and save grace to the family. No, it's not going to happen. And if it does, I do think that Vitaly gets a fast track to one of the main fights because it is what it is. The WBC, especially the WBC, because he held that title for so long, they would give him a fast track, I think. But anyway. Jesse goes on to say, I think Amir Khan should face someone like Jesse Vargas, Kell Brook, Ugas, Delorme, or maybe even Sammy Vasquez. No tune-up. I think Amir Khan, I agree with Jesse. I think he should also fight any one of those names that you mentioned, Vargas, Brook, Ugas, Delorme, or even Sammy Vasquez. And I don't think that Amir Khan will want a tune-up because he demands a lot of money too. Anyway, I agree with that. He says, what's your thoughts on Carlos Adames? Is he deserving for a top 20 guy? Listen, I'm a strong believer of fighters that work their way up the ladder. So yes, I do think he's deserving of that. Thanks for the email. I got another one here from Joel. And Joel says, hey, Billy C., with the announcement that the WBO is ordering Billy Joe Sanders and David Lemieux to negotiate a fight, I was wondering what you and Sal think. Will this fight go to purse bid? Can they have this fight take place in Montreal where Lemieux is a big star, or would Lemieux have to go to the UK? I think the least likely outcome will be for Golden Boy and Frank Warren being able to work a deal out to get this fight done, as I feel Saunders thinks he's a superstar. The minimum purse bid is $200,000, but I expect both guys to get much more than that. I'm a big fan of Lemieux and have been for years. I'm hoping he can get this WBO title shot. What's your thoughts? I do agree that Billy Joe Saunders, for some reason, feels that he's a big star, demands money. I think as a result of that, he may be passed by. He won't be stripped by November 9th when the purse bid is due by, or when this is scheduled to go to purse bid if a deal doesn't come through. But I could see this fight not coming to a deal, going to purse bid, and having Billy Joe Saunders get stripped after that. It would probably officially, he would not get stripped most likely until the end of the year. But I see that happening. I hope it doesn't. And like we said before, potentially this fight could take place in any of the three locations, either Canada, England, or even here in the States. So we'll see what happens with that. But Billy Joe Saunders is no superstar outside of his own mind, and David Lemieux is a way bigger draw, at least in Canada and in the States. And quite honestly, I think he would do pretty well in the UK as well. So that's my thought. Anyway, we got another email here, and we'll see what happens in a minute. We're scheduled to get Dax to come on. He's running out of time here. Anyway, my man Coach says, hey, Billy C., I was stirred by your show last week about dumbass Wilder's nonsense and comments about Mike Tyson so as not to be hypocritical after my frequent cries against Floyd Mayweather and his picking and choosing his phony 50-0 record. he says, after a lot of reading and number tossing, I rediscovered Marciano's 49-0 record was tied by a heavyweight in 1999. He says it was June 18th in 1999 when Marciano's record was tied. It was tied by Denmark's Brian Nielsen when he stopped Tim Witherspoon to move to 49-0. Then, at age 34, Nielsen, choosing not to retire or pick a patsy, like Floyd Mayweather picked Andre Berto for his number 49 and pro-debuting McGregor for his number 50, Nelson battled on losing his fight number 50 to Dickie Ryan, who was 47-4 at the time. Nielsen then went on to fight 12 more years, avenging his loss to Ryan, then retiring with a record of 64-3 with 43 knockouts. The two additional losses came to Mike Tyson in 2001 and Evander Holyfield in his last bout, May 7, 2011. He says, I love the show. It keeps me reading. I was ringside for the fight against Evander Holyfield in 2011. It was held in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I had forgotten all about this and didn't even recall the it being publicized that he tied the record. But thanks to Coach for getting us up to date on that. And just to go to show you, the only significance in 49-0 was for the heavyweights. Joining us right now to give us his thoughts on the Cotto-Sadam Ali fight is my man Dax Khan. What's up, Dax?
Good morning. How are you? I was waiting for a commercial break.
Okay, well, you didn't get one. That's why you're on. But what's going on, man? What's your thoughts on the Cotto-Sadam Ali fight? I know that you actually were going to talk about this before it hit the press on Monday, but due to some technical issues, like you guys had a storm, those damn storms blew you out of the water Monday. So now the rest of the world heard about it. But give us your thoughts on Cotto-Sadam Ali.
Okay, last week I stated that, in my opinion, David Lemieux, Miguel Cotto, a bad idea. It wasn't going to end out well for Miguel Cotto. I also said that Lemieux versus Billy Joe Saunders was becoming a close reality. It was mentioned earlier, something, we crucified Floyd Mayweather for his choice of Andre Berto as his last opponent. Miguel Cotto should be no different. He should get the same backlash for choosing Sadam Ali. I said that I'd like to see Miguel Cotto face a winnable but mid-level incredible opponent, Sadam Ali, whose biggest win is over Luis Carlos Abreu. He failed miserably against Jesse Vargas in his biggest fight to date. He doesn't quite fit that mold. But, most are unhappy more about the fact that this is going to be an HBO headliner than the choice of opponent. And it's understandable. We want to see great fighters go out in great fights. Sadam Ali has not accomplished a fraction of what Andre Berto did as a professional. So we're disappointed, and it's understandable. But also, Miguel Cotto is a sharp fighter. I've had this talk with people continuously over the last week. I get the same replies every single time. Some argue furiously and tell me I'm crazy. Miguel Cotto just won a 154-pound title against Yoshihiro Kamagai, and then they proceed to go backwards. They talk about his winning the middleweight title against Sergio Martinez, 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. They cover his 154-pound title reign. They talk about blowing out his revenge against Mayorga and Margarito, and on and on. But, in 2015 against Canelo, if you notice, Miguel Cotto, he didn't fight like a guy who wanted to retain his title. He fought like somebody who wanted to survive and make it through on his feet. He struggled in his fight against Kamagai. Kamagai is a guy who lost to Alfonso Gomez, a fighter that Miguel Cotto totally whitewashed and blew out in 2008. Miguel Cotto took a lot of time in between that Canelo Alvarez and that Kamagai fight to decide what he wants to do. He could have came back sooner, and if he had any inclination that he would go on, the performance in that Kamagai fight pretty much solidified exactly what his future was going to be. People forget Miguel Cotto has never been the same since the Manny Pacquiao fight. He took a horrendous beating against Antonio Margarito. He came back. He beat Michael Jennings. He defended that belt again for the WBO title. I think he defended that belt against Joshua Clottey. That was the last win against an A-level opponent, not at a catchweight and not injured. 2009 against Joshua Clottey. Miguel Cotto, ever since then, his career has been, carefully handled. People don't talk about the Austin Trout fight. People don't talk about the fact that, that's the first time we ever seen a shy Miguel Cotto, a guy who was not willing to engage. A lot of people say it was smart boxing, but something, that was a worn-out Miguel Cotto, and that's what we have now. He's a great fighter who just has a hard time letting go, that we see with a lot of the greats. But, Miguel Cotto, he's at 41, he's 5, he's got 33 knockouts. He's fought the very best of this era. He's a guy who's earned his bones, maybe more than any other fighter in or around this his divisions in this era. If anybody truly wants to know exactly what type of beatings Miguel Cotto has taken in the ring, if they forget, there's a video, Bill, that floats around, sung by Johnny Cash. It's titled Hurt. It's a tribute to all the fighters and the beatings that they've taken in the ring of this era. There's a section in there that's just dedicated to Miguel Cotto, and when you see some of the beatings that Miguel Cotto has taken over these last 4 or 5 years, you can truly understand what type of effect that's had on his body. The sport has passed him by. These divisions at 154 and 160 pounds, fighters aren't what they used to be in those divisions. These guys are monsters, just like the heavyweight division, where the average heavyweight is 6'5" or above. Same thing with the welterweights and the junior welterweights. Look at the Charlo brothers, for example. We want to see him have one more great fight. Every great fighter wants one last great fight. Miguel Cotto knows, Bill, this is where I am now. I have nothing more. He's accepted this. Sadam Ali is at his maximum where he is right now physically. He accepts that. He has to deal with that. This is going to sell in Madison Square Garden. Sadam Ali's from New York. Miguel Cotto always does great at the Garden. He didn't entertain the Mikey Garcia fight. Remember, Mikey Garcia offered to fight Miguel Cotto for his last fight. Why? Because Miguel Cotto knows, even with the advantages of fighting at the higher weight classes, he doesn't have it in him to face a Mikey Garcia anymore. No matter what the critics say, I think Miguel Cotto in his career has definitely spilled enough blood for his fans. He's definitely let it all hang out into the ring. I don't say it often, but you know what? We have to give Miguel Cotto a pass. He's earned every penny. He doesn't fight for the money. He's given us every penny's worth that we've ever spent on entertainment. You know what? Win or lose, let's see Miguel Cotto go out on his feet, going out against anybody else, facing anybody else at this point in time in his career. I just think would be detrimental to Cotto. It's time.
I don't disagree with your points at all, Dax. But my question is, go out now. He could retire right now as a champ without the fight. The fight is actually not helping him at all. And I agree. We all knew he wasn't going to take a tough fight. And I don't care that the press says, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia turned down fights. They don't tell you the reason. It was probably not enough money, et cetera, et cetera. But the Sadam Ali fight, although I do think Sadam Ali can box and everything else, the guy's never fought in that division. I think it's more of a knock on the WBO. And quite honestly, he just wants to make a payday. He, meaning Miguel Cotto, one more shot to go out on his own. Why do it? If he's not going to, really go out in blazes and try and pick a major opponent, at least an opponent that is significant in the junior middleweight division, then why bother? He could retire as a champ, just like your boy Lennox Lewis did, and just like so many others have before, where he walks out on top as a champion. Anything can happen, Dax. Even though we all think that he should have no problem with Sadam Ali. I mean, something could happen. He could lose that fight. He could get robbed on the scorecards. He could legitimately age overnight. I mean, then what? I think he's pushing. I think he's pushing the envelope here, Dax.
He's already aged, and that's the point. He's already aged. He turned down Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia didn't turn down him. All right, this is a Mikey Garcia with one fight at 140 pounds. Miguel Cotto understands. And, maybe, the WBO, there's rumor, too, that, that title isn't going to be up in this fight. There's a strong possibility that is not going to be up on this in there, that this fight is, that title is going to be vacated. Or, he's going to get a pass. He doesn't have to defend that title. The WBO, they are what they are. They're quickly sinking themselves as a reputable sanctioning body. Miguel Cotto, this is what he has left. That's my point. This is all he has, a Sadam Ali, and you bring a very valid point. Something? Sadam Ali, he's younger, he's fresher. He could always outpoint Cotto on the cards. So this is it. It's what he has, and unfortunately, we see it a lot of times. We see it so many times in this sport that guys walk out or they want that one last fight and they can't manage to let it go. He doesn't need a payday. His family. If you watch over the years, the looks on his wife Michelle and his children's faces at some of the beatings Miguel Cotto has taken, are heartbreaking. And I think that's another factor inside his decision. He doesn't want to end his career like that. He doesn't want his family to see him carried out like that. He's torn between the warrior mentality and he's torn between having to make that decision on how he wants to end his career. It is what it is. Again, for the last time, I don't do it often. I give Miguel Cotto a pass. I'd rather see him fight a guy like Sadam Ali and then see him go in there against Lemieux or Triple G or a Charlo or somebody like that just to entertain the fans, and see Miguel Cotto just end up in a bad way. There's no need for it. If he would retire now, that would be great. But, he's not going to, so you know what? Let him go out the way he wants to go out. The man has earned it. If anybody in this era, Miguel Cotto has earned it. There's never been a bad Miguel Cotto fight.
Dax, I got about a minute, and we'll get you on later in the week for some of the other big fights that we talked about earlier. But Floyd Mayweather being heckled and hassled at a Knicks game last night, and, bottom line, he's got his cronies around him, and he's being heckled for being scared of Triple G, not fighting the right fights, et cetera, et cetera. I said earlier on the show that I think that this is going to happen to him now. I think that people are going to finally, voice their displeasure with Floyd and his choice of opponents over the years. And I think that it may drive him to fight again, and when he uses the money as a defense mechanism, I think it's a joke. What's your quick thoughts? Will Floyd Mayweather fight again, or can he just ignore this kind of stuff?
He's a celebrity. He's not, he just happens to be a boxer. But, he's a celebrity. That's going to happen. He's high profile, not just in boxing, but he's on talk shows, he's on MTV, and so on and so forth. You have to expect those type of things. These same people that are heckling Floyd Mayweather are also the same ones that praise Floyd Mayweather on social media. They're also the same ones that would get ridiculously mad every time somebody criticized Floyd Mayweather, or they were the ones that were ridiculously mad for his choice of opponent, as you stated, but they'd buy that pay-per-view anyway. So, you know what? You didn't like it. You had your opportunity. You shouldn't watch me fight. You shouldn't have paid your money. And you know what? Now that I'm retired, don't sit there and heckle me. Worry about somebody else. My career is done, and that's that. Floyd can turn around. He has nothing left to prove. And the people that do that, that just shows their class of a fan. That shows their class as a person. You're going to heckle a retired fighter? Come on, grow up. You call yourself a grown person, you're going to sit there and do that? Grow up. Do something with yourself. Take night classes. Do something with yourself besides heckling somebody like that. I hope Floyd, somebody does sit there and get stupid, and they heckle him and they go overboard. Call the cops, have him arrested, make an example of him.
Well, my point, what you just said, I would say to Floyd. Why does Floyd engage? The fan, because he's a celebrity and because he's a known figure, people are always going to have beer muscles and talk smack. But Floyd lowers himself and puts himself on that level. It's his mistake. It's his fault, in my opinion. He needs to be a guy that just keeps walking and doesn't have his bouncers and bodyguards go over and say something. But anyway, Dax.
It's that reason why. It's that reason why he has to have them, because the man can't go someplace without. That's why.
Right. Hey, listen, we'll talk to you later in the week, get your thoughts on the other fights. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're scheduled to have the Blast from the Past. Don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Stop! Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald. But there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote. Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could join us today. And it's that time again, one of our longest running segments, the Blast from the Past. And this week's Blast from the Past is being sponsored by KOFantasyBoxing.com. Check it out. Join today. www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And also the Title Bout Championship computer game, which you could download right now as you're watching or listening to the show by visiting our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Title Bout banner. Today's Blast from the Past features as per request. And if you do have a request for a Blast from the Past, just drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Features a former world champion, a guy that I'm going to like because he stayed in the same division for his whole career, and he was a Boxing Hall of Famer. And his name, well, Humberto Gonzalez. Here to joining me here now to tell us all about Humberto Gonzalez is my man who's just fresh off his makeup chair, is my man Alex Perpali. Woo, looking good. Hey, looking good, man. Oh, what's up, brother?
Thank you. Yeah, wardrobe's not great today, but the makeup and hair right on.
Good deal. She does a great job. She does a great job. I would, I know Willie was in front of me in the chat room, but I would definitely take her. So send her to me if you're firing her.
Yeah, we got a really good guy today, and this is a guy who, if you're a frequent or at least recent attendee of Canastota. You've probably seen him. I think they were both up there this year. He got in at the same time, the same year of his number one rival, Michael Carbajal. And I'm pretty sure they both, because I was reading an article that there was going to be a reunion at this year's Hall of Fame. I assume there was. Unfortunately, I have not been there 2 years in a row, but I did see him get in. Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez, he got in the same year that Michael Carbajal got in, which was pretty cool to see two guys that had brought the best out of each other, getting that honor the same year.
You mentioned Michael Carbajal, and that was a guy. Not that I want to get off the topic of Chiquita Gonzalez, but Michael Carbajal, I thought that, despite, aside, let me choose a different word, aside from the flyweights and junior flyweights of yesteryear when there was only really just a flyweight division, the Pancho Villas, etc., when it was a popular division, it kind of went off the map for a long, long time until Michael Carbajal came around. I mean, I thought he put it back on the map. And his dance partner that, like you said, landed them both in the Hall of Fame was this guy, Humberto Gonzalez. Tell us about him.
Yep, Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez. One of the nicknames you hear for him, he's introduced in front of the first fight with Carbajal, actually, is Carnicerito, Carnicero, which I believe means butcher. And that is the family business. He owns a butcher shop now, as well as another successful business. But he was born March 25th, 1966. He was just 5'1" tall. He's fought mostly as a southpaw, but he was able to switch back and forth. And fought at light flyweight. So we're talking about 108 pounds. And just to give you an idea how big that is, 108 pounds is 150 times heavier than a can of soup. It's 200 times heavier than a hamster, and 350 times heavier than a D battery. But basically,
hey, you know what? I really like the fact that you did so much research on the weight comparisons, because that's good. That's good. And I'll give you another comparison.
Good size of this, and I said, I wonder if there is a site that gives you any idea of like how much is 108 pounds. Well, and sure enough, there is.
Well, I'll give you an idea. 108 pounds is the weight of my one leg. My thigh weighs about 108 pounds, so that's how light that is. So anyway.
It's 150 times heavier than the human heart.
There you go. Man, you're a plethora of comparisons today. But
yes, Chiquita Gonzalez. Chiquita, from what I saw, that nickname means little girl. So I'm not going to touch that one. I don't know what's up with that.
I thought he liked bananas. I thought he was a banana fan.
Chiquita Banana, wasn't that her gimmick? She was like a little girl.
Exactly. Well, not
a little girl. She was older. She had the bananas in her hair, and
she was well endowed. But anyway, we were getting off topic here.
It was bananas, not melons.
Yeah.
Chiquita Gonzalez turned professional at 18 years of age. In Mexico City, he fought quite a few of his early fights were Mexico City. This was a guy that he was sort of had those sloping shoulders, real powerful puncher, and was able to fight on the inside, on the outside, very, very quick hands. And you're right, him and Carbajal brought a lot of fame, instant fame to this weight class. These are small men. It's almost like it's, I don't know, the heavyweight division has always driven the sport, but at the same time, there's thrills in every division. These guys packed incredible amounts of punch in those 108 pounds. Some of his fights, two of his fights, were fights of the year. They were both two of his losses, actually, were Ring Magazine fights of the year. One of them had a round of the year as well. We'll get to them. They were amazing. He had his first defeat was a thriller against a Filipino fighter named Pasqua, who really upset him. That was almost like a Buster Douglas type upset. So yeah, he was exciting, a very exciting fighter to watch, whether he won or lost. But like I said, for a while there, he was absolutely peerless. He was 24-0 when he defeated Hyul Woo Lee by 12-round unanimous decision on the road in Cheonju, South Korea. That's when he picked up the WBC light flyweight title, which was the title that he held, the only title that he held, but he regained it. He was 7-0 when he first fought at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California, where he fought quite a bit. And there he stopped Luis Monzote in 3 rounds. He was a lot of fun, destroyer. At one point, KO Magazine, before he went into the fight with Pasqua, KO Magazine called him the most destructive puncher. Number 1, over Mike Tyson, over Michael Moorer, who at that time was a 175-pound destroyer, and Nigel Benn. So he definitely could crack.
Now, speaking of Mike Tyson, wasn't Humberto Gonzalez mentioned during Tyson's career as a fighter because of Mike Tyson? For some reason, I remember that. And either that or I'm confusing it with Carbajal. I think Gonzalez was more known as a puncher than Carbajal, right?
Yeah. Gonzalez was more of the puncher. Carbajal was the boxer. That's what made that first fight so awesome, was that Carbajal really, even at first, it was against the best wishes of his brother Danny, who trains him. He didn't want him. He at first didn't want him to exchange with Gonzalez, but Chiquita was crowding him, pressing him so much. He owned the outside, and he was able to catch Carbajal with that long left hand and put him down early. And Carbajal actually had more success in close. And, success is a relative term because he was getting clobbered. Gonzalez was hammering him, and then Carbajal comes back to win by KO in just one of the most exciting title fights. But yeah, I'm sorry, we didn't mention the Pasqua fight. That fight as well was another thriller, and he attributed that. He was interviewed by the Ring Magazine's Coyote Duran. I think this was in 2015, and he said that he just underestimated Pasqua. He totally underestimated. If you watch the fight, it almost starts like kind of like a Rocky movie. Wasn't it? I think it was in the third one. Yeah, when he first fights Clubber Lang, he comes charging out like he wants to just get things done early. Because Mickey's sick in the back and everything, and he just starts wailing on Lang in that first round, and then pretty much runs out of gas. Well, that's kind of what happens with Chiquita Gonzalez versus Pasqua. Gonzalez really makes a really forceful rush in that first minute of the first round, and Pasqua meets him. He's a taller, sharper, bonier guy, but he stands right in there with Gonzalez. It's a tremendous fight, and a crazy shootout that starts the fourth. Gonzalez is cut. When he's put down and he rises from the knockout, his face is just a mask of blood. The cut's really bad. It's amazing. I mean, that's his first loss. It really is like, I don't think it's a 42-1 upset like the Buster Douglas, but it was a big upset for the time because he had been a destroyer.
He was a destroyer and an exciting fighter. His defense was not that great. And like some of these big punchers, his own chin was the demise. But after that fight, what I admire about him and what I think separated him was after the Pasqua fight, he actually fought a guy that was extremely talented, not once but twice. And this is another thing that I love about these fighters that fight the same fighter more than once, and when they find the right dance partners, it becomes something special. And although we are talking about the Michael Carbajal fights, in which really only one of them was decided by a knockout, the other two could have gone either way. The Melchior Cobb Castro fights, he fought him twice. They were good fights as well, going the distance, and I thought that he should get some credit for those two fights, because Cobb Castro was a talented fighter then, and then even beyond. Towards the end of his career, he made another run at a belt. So I think he should get some credit for those two fights as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was the top in the division, and that was one of the things that was I don't know. It's easy to forget about. Well, I mean, not if you're a hardcore boxing fan. You don't forget about a classic fight like Carbajal Gonzalez won. But I don't know. At least myself, I do kind of gloss over some of these lighter weight thrillers in favor of the Hagler Hearns, the Leonard Duran. I mean Duran Leonard. Duran Buchanan, fights like that. It's very easy to forget about some of these. But three fights on this guy's record are classics. Well, I mean, I don't think people probably talk about the Pasqua fight, but watching that fight again, it was a thriller. So that first Carbajal fight was absolutely amazing. And one of the things that was interesting about it, I don't think we've seen this too many times. I think we have seen it with maybe Tyson Lewis or something, but for some reason the reason was that Carbajal's team looked at Michael Buffer as a good luck charm. So that fight, actually, it was on Showtime, and it utilized two ring announcers. So Jimmy Lennon did the bulk of the announcing, and then when it was time for Carbajal to be introduced, Michael Buffer stepped in. They were both there in the ring, both with mics. And then Michael Buffer introduced Carbajal, and then it flipped back to Lennon. So it was a little weird, but hey, it was a little diva-ish, if you will, for Carbajal at the time. But he was, he was the star. Like you said, he brought a lot of excitement to those lighter weight divisions because he was an American. He's from New Mexico, so that idea that America now had, and he was going up against a huge, dangerous puncher. And it was instantly a thriller. They got off right to a forceful start, and at the end of the first, Danny, Carvajal's brother in the corner, warned him about being too close, and then boom, in the second, Carbajal gets dropped by a long left hand, and then so they changed strategy. Goes back to the corner. Now Danny's telling him, you know what, get in close, because in close he's safe from that long power left of Gonzalez. So it was a fascinating little shift. It almost didn't work because they were getting Carbajal was behind. He gets dropped again at the start of the fifth. The fifth round is just an amazing round. You got Gonzalez switching back and forth from orthodox to southpaw, and at the start of what is it? It's round number. I'm sorry, I guess just got lost here. At the start of round number 7, Carbajal just explodes on Gonzalez and takes him out and staggers him. And the knockout is a crazy one. It's one of those fall forward, face forward type knockouts.
The thing that impresses me the most about Humberto Gonzalez is after that fight, and keeping in mind Michael Carbajal was undefeated in that fight. Gonzalez had 2 let's get you a couple of wins fights again. Got back in the ring against Carbajal, who had since fought again. So now he's 30-0. And they fight in Carbajal's adopted hometown of Inglewood, California. And Gonzalez wins, all right, a close fight. And with the exception of the next fight, which was a stay busy fight for Gonzalez, the final 4 fights of his career were against nothing less than top opposition, including the third and final fight against Michael Carbajal. I mean, he fought Juan Domingo Cordova, Michael Carbajal, Jesus Zuniga, and then his last fight against a guy I won't even try to pronounce his name, in which he lost his title, being stopped in the 7th round, and then did what, I can't help but admire from fighters that have reached the top, and even beyond just the championship level, where they become enshrined in a Hall of Fame like Gonzalez did. He walked away, not to come back again. And for some reason, and more as time goes on, Alex, I have a soft spot for these fighters. I don't know if I respect them more, or if I respect more the guy that wants to give it the one more shot. I just think that people have a tendency to remember that last performance, and I don't think they do themselves justice by trying to come back, even though he lost. Unlike what Cotto's going to do, and try to get in the ring with a guy he feels won't be competitive with him, sort of like every fight that Floyd Mayweather's been in. I got to give Gonzalez credit for walking away and not coming back. What was your thoughts on the final fights of his career after he regained the title from Carbajal?
I agree with you. I think that there is something to that idea of walking away, just completely finished, no ties, no little comebacks. No, I wanted to see what it would be like again, and to go out, even though it was on a defeat, he went out on a brilliant defeat, a fight of the year again. And I wrote down a phonetic spelling of this guy's name because I'd never watched this fight. And again, this is another one that's an absolute classic. And like I said, I am somebody who just loves Hagler-Hearns and always thinks about that fight as like the pinnacle of boxing. This fight is tremendous. And his name is Saman Sorjaturong. And he is a badass, and it starts blazing. Another just furious start. Great round one. There's a big overhand right from Chiquita in the first that causes Sorjaturong to reach out with both hands and sort of steady himself. And then in the second round, Gonzalez drops him. So it really looks like, Chiquita's on his way to finishing this guy off. Then in the big headbutt, and again, this is another thing that I love about boxing. Everything that you've seen, everything that has happened, happens again. And in this fight, there's a big headbutt in the final seconds of round 2, and Sorjaturong is cut. But when they look at the replay of the knockdown, the replay shows that actually the knockdown was sort of set up by a headbutt. And if you remember, years later, when Mosley fought Vernon Forrest, that's exactly what happened to him, too. When he gets in trouble in the second round, right before he gets rocked, badly rocked and put down, the heads collide. So I thought that was interesting because, again, it's always fascinating to see how history repeats. But yeah, again, it's another bloody one, a back and forth fight. Round 7 is round of the year, and it's one that I had never seen before, I'm ashamed to say. That's something I think that I should probably spend some time trying to do, is just go through Ring Magazine's award-winning fights of the year, and this is one I had never seen, and it's a terrific one.
I just want to say this. Like you, I've always used the Hagler-Hearns fight as a point of the greatest 3 rounds of action I ever saw live, etc., etc. That was until we filmed our first Billy C's Boxing Revisited, which I'll give a shameless plug. It will be on AMG TV beginning next month. When I watched Gene Fulmer against Benny Kid Paret, Alex, if you haven't seen this fight, It's available up on YouTube. We will put the Revisited up after it airs, but it's already up there. All I'm going to say is this, that Benny Kid Paret and Gene Fulmer was 10 rounds of Hagler Hearns.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Anyway, Humberto Gonzalez, how did he do in the title bout?
In title bout, he did very well, as you would expect. Like I said, there is a little video. It's on Spanish, but YouTube has a pretty cool, and it's not too bad, translation feature. And I think this is another thing, Billy C., about what's cool about seeing these guys end the career and walk away. They end up a lot more intact. Even though this guy had absolutely brutal fights that very likely were life-changing, debilitating type fights, he seems pretty sharp. And I think that maybe that, he when it was over, it was over. His reaction time was dulled enough. That was it. And in this video, you see him with all the cuts of meat. The other thing that, selling in the butcher shops, and his father taught him to be really smart with money. And he also rents out meeting spaces for like parties and board meetings. But in the Title Bout Championship boxing game, so he's been smart with money. And like I said, you can't see him up in Canastota. In the game, I put him in against the number one guy at 108 pounds. That's Pedro Guevara. And when they first fight, Chiquito wins a 10th round TKO, 1 minute and 58 seconds of the 10th. He had Guevara down in the first and the second, and then puts him down two times in the 10th before it's waved off. When they fight 100 times, Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez gets the better of things, as one would expect. 89 big wins, 11 defeats, 79 knockouts, and in his 11 wins, Pedro Guevara had 9 KOs.
80 wins, 79 by knockout. Just goes to show you how good he was, right? But anyway,
he was a puncher.
Great job as usual. Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez, our blast from the past this week.
And I should mention, I didn't mention this before, not only was Carvajal the Hall of Famer that he was 2-1 against, but he was 1-0 against Jungkook Chang, who was another Hall of Famer who I wasn't aware of.
He fought in 18 world title fights with a record of 15-3, 7 coming by knockout. And of his 18 fights, which were world title fights, 12 were against either current or former world champions, which is pretty impressive. He was a former world junior flyweight champion, had a record of 43 wins, 30 by knockout. He only had 3 losses in which he was stopped 3 times, had a KO percentage of 65%, 272 rounds. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I sound like Harold Letterman. In 2006, and he was our blast from the past today. Great job as usual, Alex, and hopefully we can get you on later in the week to talk about the fight schedule for this weekend.
Yeah, there's quite a bit this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some good ones. So great job as usual.
So I don't understand. Fox Sports and Showtime are going to be simulcasting one of the shows this weekend on Saturday?
You got the Fox is the Leo Santa Cruz and Mares Gutierrez,
and then it switches to Showtime.
And then it's Lara Joshua Lubin. I don't think they're the same card. I don't think
they're in different
different locations. So states. Yeah, they're going against each other. PBC really wants to take over. But anyway, Alex, we'll talk to you later.
How's that going?
Yeah, we'll talk to you later in the week, my man.
Take care, Billy C.
That's Alex Papali doing a great job. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, we'll have Sal Rocky Senecola back with us. And all I could say is don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
This is important news for people who had a hip replacement and then had to have additional surgery as the result of a faulty hip implant or were diagnosed with high levels of metal in the blood, known as metallosis. You may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you have been diagnosed with high levels of metal in your blood or have required more surgery because of hip implant failure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And joining me once again. I guess it's Sal's band. No, that's me. Joining me once again is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. That's what
hey, I used to have a backup band.
That's what you get for hitting the wrong button. I was like, what's Sal doing? Playing the music one day? But listen, I got some more news, man. I got some more news.
I can't wait. Let's go.
I think you might be happy. No, I'm not. It was announced yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was late after the show we did on Monday. Okay. But HBO announced that they have signed Jim Lampley, 68-year-old Jim Lampley, as the main guy for HBO boxing, whether it's the regular HBO, whether it's the championship, HBO After Dark, or HBO pay-per-view, and his show, The Fight Game. HBO has officially signed him to a multi-year deal to continue being the number one guy for HBO, which only means we got to be stuck with him and his lack of ability to call a fight without punch stats. What's your thoughts, Sal Rocky Senacola?
Whoa, well, I'll tell you, Billy C. I was hoping they would slide you and I in there somewhere, but now we got to talk to Jim Lampley about that. But the bottom line is, when Jim Lampley was coming up and when he was first making his presence known on HBO, I thought he was great. I thought he was fantastic. And I loved listening to him. Thought he called it like it was. And now I know his last performances have totally relied on the punch stat formulas and everything else, and we're not hearing the old Jim Lampley that I really grew to appreciate and respect and admire. Hey, we never know. I mean, he's signed on. Maybe it might take some new direction. I'll give him a shot at that. Maybe, just maybe, we don't know what happens behind the contracts in a room. Maybe he had to do something on a format to give it a try, or to earn his spot back on the way it was. Now that he's got it back, maybe we'll see him a little bit with his leash off. I don't know. I'm just giving. I'm being a devil's advocate. I always am on both sides of the aisle.
Well,
I like him.
I think,
but I don't like his textbook.
I agree with you about when at one point he was good. That point is gone. I don't think his ability to call a fight without punch stats or his ability to recognize a good referee is there anymore. I mean, he doesn't even comment on fights. As a matter of fact, he was watching a fight recently and had to change his opinion of the round based on what he was reading on the punch stats. I mean, he was surprised that the punch stats were the way they were and who he had thought won the round, and he basically changed his mind, which is ridiculous. And as far as the way they, give the accolades to specific referees and judges, and it's just gotten so old. I think boxing has a tendency to just stay without changes too long. And then when they make a change, it seems to be an adverse change, a change that really shouldn't be made to begin with. So I don't know. All of the sports try to keep up with fan bases and the modern times and stuff. And I think that boxing is behind. And one of the reasons is some of the announcing teams need to be jumbled. They need to be redone. Jim Lampley, I think that whole HBO crew is garbage. I think that the Showtime crew has to, tar and feather and hang and do whatever they want to Mario Ronaldo. That guy is terrible. But the rest of the guys are okay, but I think they just need to revamp some stuff, Sal.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think they need to do something to enhance the delivery of what they're giving as far as the show. But I also know they're trying to educate their fan base or whoever follows and have them drink some Kool-Aid and see what happens here. That's the only other thing I could think of. But the bottom line is, we do need some little shakeups here and there. And for HBO at this time with Jim Lampley remaining, that's not going to happen. Maybe he'll change his delivery. Maybe he'll change his opinion a little bit, but I give him a shot. He's got a long way to go.
The only changing of delivery should be the delivery of his mail, because he should be getting it at someplace else other than HBO.
That's a good one, Billy. I thought you were going to say something about delivery of a pitch tonight, which might happen. What we're going to talk about.
I'm not going to. We'll talk about the results tomorrow. But
yes.
And by the way, my choice of using tar and feather, I did not mean it in any kind of negative way. I just, it just meant that I don't like Mario Ronaldo. So I know I'm going to get slack for that, but I didn't mean it in any negative way. But anyway, Trying to move right along after that.
Let's go. Let me bail you out. Here's a life preserver. Hey, what about those Yanks?
I need more than that. But anyway, let's go to our trivia question because the trivia question is a good feel here. But yesterday's trivia question, or I should say Monday's trivia question, said, what two famous actors once shared an apartment with Jack Dempsey? And before the show ended, in the chat room, my man, Paul Hutchinson, knew that the correct answer was Charlie Chaplin and Douglas Fairbanks Sr. So congratulations to my man, Paul. We sent him his very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. So I hope he enjoys that. So we have another trivia question today, Sal. And today's question is, what famous boxer? Let me rephrase that. What boxer? Because he might not be too famous. What boxer had a famous comic strip character named after him? What boxer had a famous comic strip character named after him? Do you know the answer, Sal?
Joe Palooka.
No. It was a good one. That was a good one. That was good. I was expecting a different answer from you. But in lieu of that answer, I'm going to buy myself a pack or a handful or however you buy them of Bazooka bubble gum where Palooka
There
Joe,
you go. It works.
Start. But anyway, if you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you will win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. One more time, what boxer had a famous comic strip character named after him? If you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win the prize. On this day, October 11th in boxing history, in 2002, Wayne Braithwaite knocks out Vincenzo Canatore in the 10th round to win the vacant WBC World Cruiserweight title. It took place in Italy. On this day in 1913, Georgie Chip knocks out Frank Claus, and there is no relation to Santa, but Frank Claus in the 6th round to win the world middleweight title. It took place in Pittsburgh. You like that one, huh?
I like that. You know me. I love that one.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was Santa's cousin, though. I will tell you that, but no. And on this day in 1992, Ricardo Lopez knocks out Rocky Lynn in the 2nd round to retain his WBC World Minimum Weight title. And that took place in Tokyo, Japan. On this day in 1997, Prince Nassim Hamed knocks out Jose Badillo in the 7th round to retain his WBO World Featherweight title. It took place in England. And finally, on this day in 1997, Joe Calzaghe wins a 12-round decision over Chris Eubanks Sr. to win the vacant WBO Super Middleweight title, and that took place at the Sheffield Arena in Sheffield, England, on this day in 1997. Hey, listen, we're going to have a full day of the show tomorrow. We will give you the results of Sal's Yankees against the Cleveland Indians tomorrow.
Yankees! Go Yankees!
They are in a do-or-die situation. I think that the Indians are one of the better teams, so if the Yankees do get by the Indians, watch out for the Yanks. And although I don't like the Yankees at all, I do like Aaron Judge. I'll give you that. I like the kid.
That's a good judgment.
But here come the judge. Remember Flip Wilson?
Here come the judge.
Here come the judge. Anyway, listen. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.